Good evening, everyone. I am Magicide, of course. Welcome back to our campaign here playing Diablo II, Lord of Destruction. I probably don't need to say shit because you can see it yourself. Our main character is dead. He did 68 and a half. That's the final level of AnitItDeadYet. Basically, I had this bad gut feeling that this was going to happen when I was playing today. I figured, you know what, I was just going to level up a little bit, maybe do a little farming of runes in Hell Forgotten Tower. And there was one of the little Devilkin with an aura. And two hits. I had full bone armor. And by the time I hit the actual potion button for one of my full rejuvenation potions, I was dead. I had that bad gut feeling that it was going to happen. And I have this problem in my life where it's like I have a bad gut feeling, but I don't trust it, or I just go against it. I'm like, yeah, we don't even need to worry about that. I'm all right. And then it actually happens. So that's the end. That's the end of our Diablo II Lord of Destruction campaign to find a cruel Colossus Blade of Quickness. It's very anticlimactic. I always hoped that if I was going to die on camera, or if I was going to die, I hoped it was going to be on camera, but it didn't end up happening. So I'm not sure what I really want to do with my Diablo 2 experience right now, because I feel like if I died, like I didn't really want to go back and have to do it all again. That'd be kind of stupid in my opinion. I'm not really down for that. But Diablo 2 has given me, it reinvigorated my juices to play an action RPG. So what I'm thinking is that we will try something else. And let's downsize this. Let me reduce. Let's scroll this down. I'm going to pull up my Steam page here. I've got a series of other action RPGs that I'm tempted to play, but I really want to hear from you guys. Unfortunately, there is a function in YouTube called the community tab, but I won't even have access to it until I have 10,000 subscribers. And I'm just fighting to get 100 right now. So it's going to be a long time before I'm able to do it. The reason why I bring that up is that the community tab will allow me to post polls. And I'd like to actually have a poll of all these different Steam games, action RPG titles that I have on my Steam account that I could probably replace Diablo 2 with. So since I can't actually form a poll on YouTube, I figured I was going to go down my list and maybe discuss the different options that I had available to me. So right now, according to my Steam, I have everything organized. I've got A Bard's Tale, Beyond Divinity, Divine Divinity. Well, it should be Divine Divinity, and then Beyond Divinity was kind of like the, I don't know, like an expansion sequel kind of thing. I mean, it's its own game, but, you know, you got the Dungeon Siege franchise. We've got Fate. Fate is a really good game. If you guys are familiar with Torchlight, they basically ripped off Fate, which ripped off Diablo. That's kind of how that goes. There's Grim Dawn. There's Path of Exile. I have the Van Helsing titles. There's Sacred Gold. I have spoken about that a few times. I have Sword Coast Legends, Tempest, the Titan Quest games, of course, the Torchlights, and then Victor Vran. So I'd really love to hear from you guys about maybe which action RPG you would like me to actually cover right now. Unfortunately, again, I don't have the access to the poll option, and otherwise I would love to do a poll. If you guys can give me your heads up about what action RPG game you guys would let me, or would love to see me cover, please comment below. Otherwise, if I don't hear anything, I might just end up choosing one, and I'm kind of torn between them because, you know, Fate is a really fun game, but it's kind of cartoony. And, you know, it's like if you've ever played the original Diablo, that as in Diablo 1, it's basically like that. There's really no story. And I'm not really I like Torchlight. I like the Torchlight series, but it suffers from the same problems I personally feel like with Fate. And then I've spoken at length somewhat about Sacred and Sacred Gold, you know, I guess is with its full expansion and everything. That would be really fun to cover. I don't really think that there's a lot of content out there about that. I have not taken a look at it, but the problem with playing Sacred is that it's, first of all, it's slow, and it's kind of quiet to some extent. It's not as action-paced and fast-paced as Diablo 2 is. The other thing is that the servers went down a long time ago, and so we're not going to have the multiplayer availability. And then, you know, I thought about the Titan Quest because they've released the remastered version, and then they released, I think, a new expansion for it, actually, that I don't have. I'd have to actually pick it up. And, you know, I have my own qualms with Titan Quest because it's really fucking slow and it's boring, in my opinion. And then there's Grim Dawn, which, you know, it's basically like a reskin version of Titan Quest. I mean, an updated reskin form. I wouldn't mind playing Grim Dawn. I would be happy playing Grim Dawn over Titan Quest, to be quite honest. And then I've also spoken at length about Path of Exile. I would be willing to play Path of Exile, despite my misgivings about the game. But as far as the rest of the list goes, let me know. Or unless, of course, I'm not actually touching on a true action RPG. I'm looking for an actual, like, real Diablo 2 clone, not just something that's considered an action RPG, like, what is it, the Dragon Age series or something like that. Or, like, The Witcher. That's not really what I'm going for. That's not the same thing. I'm looking for, like, a Diablo 2 type game. So, yeah, let me know what you guys would like to see me cover. Otherwise, I may end up just choosing something on my own if I don't hear back from you guys, like I said before, and we'll just kind of roll with it. Very unfortunate. Let's go back to our Diablo 2 so you guys can take a look at them one more time. If I can actually get it. There we go. I'm not really salty. Like, I had a feeling that was going to happen. Hell can be a son of a bitch, and I made a mistake. You know what? Like, I ended up moving into this room, and I know I shouldn't have. I should have just stayed there, proceeded with caution, let my entire army just roll up in there and actually, you know, get all that damage in. That's not what happened. I ended up going in there, bum rushing in real quick, and then I got slaughtered in 2 hits. Wah, wah, wah. So no Cruel Colossus Blade of Quickness. Sorry, folks. Anyways, have a good one. Let me know. Whoa. Face! So, good morning, everyone. I'm actually back here. I've been mulling this over all night about which game that I want to play, and I'm having a really difficult time. I've been really ambivalent about it. I have my issues with a lot of these games that I'm really not looking forward to, and I wanted to reiterate a few points that when it comes to an action RPG, I really want to make sure that it's like a Diablo-like RPG or action RPG, especially a Diablo 2 clone action RPG. I'm not looking for something that's, you know, trying to replicate the original Diablo or even Diablo 3, because fuck that. Diablo 3 is garbage. So I was talking about, like, some of the action RPGs that I have in my Steam list and, you know, how I would be willing to play one of them. And I kind of wanted to shorten that list down. So if you guys would rather pick from something that I think would be a little bit more fun to play, I thought about it, and I guess I would be willing to do Diablo 2 over again if there was interest into it. If people wanted to see me play more Diablo 2, I will go and play more Diablo 2, and we will continue our quest for a Cruel Colossus Blade of Quickness. If that's what you guys want, I will definitely do it. I'm not against it. I just thought it was kind of stupid, you know, that, like, we spent all that time and effort playing as a necromancer, and he gets up to, you know, level 68.5 and dies. And then I start over again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you get 30 episodes into a campaign, into whatever game, and then all of a sudden you stop and start over. A part of me, it just thought it was a little hokey, and that's why I was hesitant about doing that. But, you know, I want to know something? I'm still in the mood to play the game, so that's why I'd be willing to do it. I'm looking at the rest of my list. I've been in the lab with the pen and the pad, trying to do some homework here with these some of these other games. Like, there's other games that I've discovered through, like, you know, if you go online and say what games are like Diablo 2, or like during a Steam sale, if you do like a discovery queue for like getting like their cards or whatever, I discovered some of these games like the what is it, the Van Helsing game. I had no idea that game even existed. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that I really didn't know what I was getting into. I knew that they were like action RPGs and Diablo-like, but I didn't really know which Diablo or how much like Diablo. So when I mentioned all these games last night, stuff like Victor Vran and Van Helsing, I'm crossing that shit off the list because those games from the Let's Play series and things online on YouTube that I've watched, they just don't look very interesting to me. They look more like a Diablo 3 type of deal. The other thing is like, I don't know, Van Helsing, it's totally in a setting and stylistically it's just not very appealing to me. Victor Vran, I have no idea what the hell that's about. It just looks generic as fuck. And it also looks like it's trying to actually replicate a lot more of Diablo 3 than it is Diablo 2. Like, I'm looking for Diablo 2's level customization. So when it comes to games that are like this that would be best for it, I'm thinking Divine Divinity would be good. If you've ever played any of the Divinity series, especially the recent ones like Divinity Original Sin or its sequel, Divinity Original Sin 2, you'll kind of know what you're getting into. It's like a mashup between the story of like the Divinity and then like the item and loot system of Diablo 2. That's basically the best way I can kind of describe it. It's fun. My problem is that I get so divested because there's a lot of micromanagement in the game. If you've ever played Divinity Original Sin, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, you can interact with so many different objects in the world, and it's like if you're one of those like micromanagers, you know, when it comes to the itemization of everything, you go through every barrel, every chest, kick over every rock, and it just becomes so tiresome. And eventually I lose my way and I stop playing. I end up churning out. That's basically how that happens. I become jaded. And that's exactly what that. I'd be willing to play that because I've never beat it and had a really great story, but for all the aforementioned kind of quirks that I had with it, that's why. I'd be willing to do Grim Dawn, even though like I think that it's just totally an updated reskin of Titan Quest. Okay, so I'd do that. I really don't want to play Titan Quest unless, of course, there is, you know, I'd be willing to do the most updated form of Titan Quest. I would be willing to do that, considering the fact that they just produce new content for it. I would go with that. Path of Exile, sure. But you guys are just going to have to hear me bitch about a few things about why I don't really like Path of Exile, if that's the case. And then there's Sacred. I'd totally be willing to play Sacred, I guess. That's just going to be a little difficult just because it's a quiet game. And, I mean, it doesn't have like that same orchestral soundtrack that Diablo 2 does. And, you know, obviously there's no online multiplayer element of it. So there's not going to be like random people potentially coming into our game, and you know what, I feel like it takes away something. Some of the other games that I've listed off like last night, like Fate and Torchlight, I don't want to play those. Nah, I don't think I really want to play those either one, Fate or Torchlight 1 or Torchlight 2. I'm just not really in the mood. I did mention, I think, what Sword Coast Legends and like Tempest, like those aren't Diablo clones. Those are, you know, action RPGs of the other variety, and I'm not really all that keen on it. And then there's Bard's Tale, and Bard's Tale is really old. I mean, it's even older than Diablo 2. And I think it is, actually. I think it might be. Could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. I don't know if I want to play Bard's Tale. So right now, I think it's between, say, Divine Divinity, going back and playing Diablo 2. I'm just going down the list here. Grim Dawn, Path of Exile, Sacred, and Torchlight, or not Torchlight, excuse me, Titan Quest, right? I think those games, those are the games that so six games, unless of course you guys have another suggestion. I did take a look at a couple of those videos, like I mentioned before, like games like Diablo 2. I am not, if it comes from an Asian developer, I'm not going to play it. And it's not because I have anything against Asian developers. It's just, I'm not going to play their fucking microtransaction, you know, money grubbing, pandering bullshit. I don't support those games at all. Like Mule Legends, I'm not going to play any of that bullshit. No, so don't even suggest it. I ain't going to play it. If you guys have any other games that are like Diablo 2 that I'm just completely skipping over, glossing over, just don't know about, yeah, let me know. I'm very much interested. That's my favorite game of all time. And like I've said before, I think that the two games that came closest to actually replicating it are Sacred and Path of Exile. And other than that, like other games, yeah, you know, took like elements of it, but didn't actually, you know, come close to actually trying to knock it off. But nevertheless, let me know what you have to say. That'd be really great. I'll see you guys for the next campaign series, whatever game is decided upon. So, peace.